Welcome to episode 96 of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
And I'm Brian Hines. How's everybody doing today? Thank you for joining us.
Today we're getting into all the action from OVW Rise. That was OVW TV 1340 emanating live originally on April 17th from legendary Hot Point Davis Arena.
It actually wasn't live.
No.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're
I
right.
even took it out of the script, if you look.
Oh, I don't read the script.
I know you don't, but I did.
We have a script?
I also, if I read the script.
Sort of.
If I read the script, I also would have called it episode 94.
Okay, so I win some, I lose some. You're not wrong.
I'll go ahead and adjust the points accordingly.
So,
Why
yeah.
did I ever give you those Finn's email address?
Weird.
I'll have them contact you.
Weird week last week as far as the schedule for OVW.
It's really thrown me off, yeah.
This was the show that was recorded last Tuesday but broadcast last Thursday.
Keeping with the Tuesday night tradition.
Right. The very, very old, as we found in our interview with John Cosper, that'll be up later this week. An incredibly old tradition, even before the Memphis days. You know, the Tuesday night Memphis town was Louisville. Even before then, Tuesday night Louisville wrestling was a tradition. So
I had no idea that wrestling in Louisville went back over 100 years.
I had no idea either, and we found out a lot of great stuff about the history of Louisville wrestling with John Cosper, the history of OVW, some local wrestling in general, and an all-around
Kentucky
good talk.
wrestling history.
Right. And
we both got a couple of books.
That was a great sit-down with Cosper. That'll be up Monday, Tiny Brian.
Indeed, Monday morning in the YouTube and the audio feed.
Looking forward to it.
A little bit of synergy. You guys also interviewed John Cosper about wrestling.
I was
going to
save that for the ad, but yeah, that is true. So you guys, I'm the only one who saw both interviews. Well, Malachi, but he doesn't count.
Watch it.
He might beg to differ.
Well, he could not tell you what was talked about. I could.
Oh, okay.
And we did a whole interview with him first about just more general Kentucky history, about wrestling and other things. And you guys,
And that's of course on Bluegrass Homefront.
It is. And then you guys stuck to OVW history largely. They are completely different interviews. There is almost no overlap in that long, those two interviews combined.
And those will go up on Monday and that in our feed for the OVW podcast. And then what's your guys' day over on?
That will be out soon. That's going to be a segment for the next episode of Homefront, but that doesn't record till next week. So it'll be a little longer wait on the Cosper interview. We'll keep you all updated.
Double dose of John Cosper, though, needless to say. Something you guys want to look forward to, whether it be on our feed or over on our sister podcast, Bluegrass Homefront. So that's our house cleaning, I suppose, right? We'll get into all the action soon enough. But first, Brian Hines, let's update the fine people on the tour here.
Brian, before you actually get into what's printed there, since that was printed, I did have a talk with head cheese in charge, Al Snow, about...
Head cheese is disgusting.
Well, maybe. I've never had it. But anyway, there's been some questions about what's going on with the Riverfront shows, with Derby Week, with Double Cross. You know, Double Cross, is it at Davis Arena?
It's gotten kind of confusing, yeah.
So I am here to bring light from the head man in charge himself. So we know this week that there is Davis Arena show Thursday, live on Facebook, or live on Fight and live on YouTube. Friday night is a house show at the River, as well as at Appalachian Armageddon, on your sheet. Next Thursday is Double Cross live from the River.
Fun.
They're doing two river shows.
They're going to do Friday this week, Thursday next week.
Wow.
So I know the thing on the website for OVW says that it's at Davis Arena next Thursday. It is not. It is at the River. And I'm sure they'll get that corrected, but I did want to go direct to the source and find out exactly what's going on, and that's what it is.
That'll be the day I'm getting back into town at like 2 a.m. So I'll have to drink a Red Bull or something to make it to that Riverfront show.
Well, I mean, you can also just I guess we'll be without you next week.
I like the Riverfront show though. Brian Hines knows that I like the Riverfront for a multitude of reasons.
I very much love the Riverfront show as well.
So
2 out of 2 hosts agree.
I never hesitate to miss an opportunity, or I never try to miss an opportunity to visit the Riverfront, one of my favorite places in Louisville. Seriously. So I'm going to try to go to both. Or do both. Try to get in here at 2 a.m. Back to Lexington at 2 a.m. and be at the river at 7 the next night.
That's next Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's next Thursday.
Fun.
Ambitious.
Yeah. Well, I've done it before. When I had that hellish trip back to Nashville and back from Nashville. I made the call. I got back to work that morning and did the podcast.
You drove straight back from there and got here at just in time for work. Mm-hmm. Worked the whole day and then did the podcast.
Yeah. So I don't know if I got another Ironman performance like that in me, but we'll see.
I'm not in my 20s anymore.
The Atlanta bus hub is much more consistent than the Nashville one. I've been led to believe. So
interesting.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So we ready for these tour days?
Yes, now let's go ahead and get into the tour update.
All right. I'm going to read through this a little bit slower than usual to make sure I catch all the updates.
Right.
Every Thursday, OVW Rise at Hot Point Davis Arena, most times, at 6:30.
Right.
OVW Appalachian Armageddon is part of the legendary Hillbilly Days Festival, Friday, August 25th. That is this Friday.
You know, when I was a kid, Pike County let school out Thursday and Friday of Hillbilly Days. I don't know if that's still true or not, but it was true when I was a kid. There was no school that Thursday and Friday.
Oh, I believe it.
There's no getting in and out of town.
No, not really.
Yeah. OVW Run for the Ropes.
Yes, Run for the Ropes this week.
Louisville, Kentucky, as part of the Kentucky Derby celebration, Friday, April 25th. That is at the waterfront, as previously stated.
Correct.
Okay. OVW Shamrock Slam, St. Martha Parish, Louisville, Kentucky. That's May 16th. OVW Rumble at the Raceway Series, Ponderosa Speedway, Junction City, Kentucky. That is Saturday, May 17th, June 21st, and July 19th. We have OVW Saturday Night Special at Hot Point Davis Arena, June 14th. Free all-ages show at Element Eatery, Cincinnati, Ohio, June 28th. Lexington, Kentucky, Manchester Music Hall, our favorite shows of the year, July 5th. OVW Independence Rage, Hot Point Davis Arena, July 26th. And you said Double Cross was next Thursday?
Yes.
May 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st.
Thank you, Jackman, coming through with the date.
You can get tickets to all of these shows wherever they may be at OVWTix, that's TIX.com.
Got a question. Do we still need Pegasus pins? Is that
yes,
still how that works?
A Pegasus pin will get you in. I heard that on
for
this week's episode.
And I think that's for both those Riverfront shows.
Really?
Because the festival starts Friday, I think. I think they're going to have one. This will open the festival.
So they are doing a festival, but they're not doing Thunder over Louisville.
Yeah, Thunder over Louisville should have been like last weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are two separate things, but there will be a festival.
Yeah, Thunder over Louisville is technically part of. It's just like the very first thing they do is Thunder over Louisville.
So there is still a chance I could get like fried cheese on a stick and all my favorite carnival foods.
There's an excellent chance. They've got that. Mayor Greenberg was down there cleaning up the riverside like the day after with a bunch of volunteers.
I was down there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And down in the location of the riverfront and drove through kind of the riverfront, and it looked, I mean, could tell it was awful. Could tell, that a lot of damage had happened, but it looked fairly clear.
I can relate. Ripley is a river town, and there's a lot of damage there too. But I understand. But we could, so that if there's a festival, I can also do like the really, really big super slide, where you get in the burlap.
Did they have that last year?
They did.
I assume that.
And I really wanted to do that, but wrestling was on, and I was kind of torn, so I stuck with wrestling. But if we get there early enough, I would like to do the slide, please.
I'm really, honestly, Brian Hines, in the short amount of time that I've known you, you surprised me many times. There's nothing more surprising to me that you did not go down that slide that day.
Believe me, I wanted to bad. Every time, I mean, if you had to get a refreshment of any kind, you had to leave the wrestling area.
Yeah, that's true.
The slide was clearly visible, and I thought about it several times, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. But if we plan ahead and we get there early, then
I feel like there's some content here. We can make Brian Hans's.
Do we have a GoPro?
True. Oh yes, we do.
We actually do.
Oh sure.
Oh well, I know where this is going. I know where this is GoProing.
It'll be like that time the Brady Bunch went to Kings Island, only cooler.
Like the one up in your neck of the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally went there.
Yeah, it was like the 43rd anniversary this past week.
Also Camden Park's in Fallout 76, which is right down 64 in West Virginia.
I don't play video games.
All right, shall we?
Got other things to do.
Shall we move along?
Do you have an ad to read during the ad break?
Let's cut to break and see.
OVWTIX.com. We'll be back right after this.
No, I do not have an ad to read. So let's throw it right back to the OVW podcast.
Oh, my
And
God.
we're back. This is the OVW podcast. I'm Brian Hines.
I'm Jackman Oaks. Like you came out strong after that ad break, buddy.
I realized
I
that
kind of thought you were gonna run with it.
I realized it was a trick play. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead and get back into this.
Yeah,
But,
dude, go for it.
We'd already announced the Cosper thing. I'm like, I'm just going to, and it
Yeah.
just seemed so funny that you were like, do you have an ad break? I'm like, here we go.
So this week being an odd week because of WrestleMania, this episode was recorded on Tuesday and aired on Thursday. A little bit shorter than usual. We might get into talking about WrestleMania at some point during this because it was just a really big week for wrestling in general.
Yeah, then we might. We talked a little bit about it on the Wednesday night show last week.
We did.
We might end up doing that again a little bit in an hour or so.
Yeah. Now that we are back to regularly scheduled programming, at least for the first little bit, let's go into what we got going on this week.
Sure.
We start the episode with the new faction that we've seen brewing over the course of the last 2 weeks. That would be, of course, Anthony Katina, Brandon Beretta, and Ashton Adonis.
New faction dropping.
Yes, that's right. And I like the name.
The Trifecta.
I like the look.
Yeah, I've got to hand it to these guys. They threw it together. The package is a lot better this week.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I guess technically that's not true because we start off the program with an announcement from Morley Sports Management.
Yeah, and I think that ran at both.
It did.
Both
It
hours.
ran at the top
Yes,
of
it
both
did.
hours. Yes.
Yeah, and that was, I think, we'll touch on that for a moment before we kind of get into the in-ring segment here. I think that as a salutations or a greeting letter to the fan base, it was about as good as you could possibly ask for.
Total class move.
It was very, very well written, very well, like a lot of intent.
Yes.
You know, not just, there was not, you know, there's kind of, anytime that there's like a corporate merger, you know, you expect all niceties, right? But I think that they came in with a lot of intent and a lot of like plan, like an eye to the future. You know,
Yes, as opposed to previous
right
times when we've covered this, and there was what's the proper term for it? Jack squat, as far as that goes. This was actually a very, very nice touch on their part, and I really appreciated that as a fan.
Yeah, no, and I look forward to more kind of getting to know these guys. Obviously, we've seen people kind of come and go at OVW. OVW's not going to put these guys on screen every week, you know what I mean? But as a salutations, as a greeting, as an introduction, this is about as good as you could ask for, and I think it was a really great move for Morley Sports Entertainment.
I 100% agree.
Morley Sports Management, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But yeah, so we open beyond the salutations from Morley Sports Management. We open the matches, the night with Katina, Adonis, and Beretta. They're the Trifecta. That's what they're calling themselves. Like we said just a moment ago, love the packaging this week. Think it looks a lot more congruent, look a lot more like a team. They all three kind of have their personalities still, though. You know, Ashton Adonis with the very nice white suit, very well trimmed. Beretta or Katina with the wife beater underneath, you know, and then Beretta with the black suit. Right?
Yeah, everybody kind of has their own personality, but there's more unity and cohesion among these three than we saw last week or the week before.
It's the cool guy Power Rangers.
But we have, of course, if the heels are going to talk long enough, some babyfaces got to come out and confront them, right?
Yeah.
We have Dustin Jackson, Luscious Lawrence, and Cal Hero out to confront Katina, Adonis, and Beretta. They go back and forth, set up a nice six-man match for later on in the evening. That was the main event of the evening. And then, before too long, Mount Kadeem, Shannon the Dude come and kind of bust up the party. I love the layering here. In the immediate, we have the team of babyfaces versus the team of heels. Mount Kadeem's always lurking in the background anywhere Cal Hero is.
It's kind of like a setup for a thing within a thing.
Right. Love the layering here. And then later on in the night, a lot of symmetry as well within these two segments, right?
Yeah.
Before this can escalate much further than it needs to, the refs come out and break everything up. Refs work in double, triple time tonight.
Oh, they sure are, yeah.
Between this and the contract signing.
Let's see. You got SK, you got Charlene, you got Daniel Spencer, you got Dallas in there. No, I'm sorry. That's JMO.
Yeah, it's JMO.
Sorry.
Yeah, love this early on in the evening, right? Just a bunch of chaos to start off our night of wrestling.
Building the hype for the payoff that you know is going to come later.
Right. Let's get into our first proper match of the evening, though. That was, of course, between the Dragonfly Chris Exodus and Star Rider with Evil Z to his corner.
This is probably I was going to say this is probably the most disturbing match of the night, but we'll get to what I think might be a neck and neck tie later. But necktie, see what I did there? I didn't mean that to happen.
Well.
So we finally get to see Star Rider in action with his new look and the over mask that he wears to the ring.
Post manifesto Star Rider.
Yes. Just bizarre.
Yeah,
Watch this. He's like,
ooh. Yeah, you can't hurt him because he's a weirdo now. There's no use in trying. I'm a weirdo. Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, and there's purple plaid in there, too. That reminds me of Carson Drake.
Yeah, the new...
I swear that's Carson Drake's old
I knew you were going to say it. I knew if I said that, you were going to say it.
For it. Yeah, we got the new ring gear to kind of... or the new tights to kind of reflect the clownish, Joker persona that he's going through right now.
Yeah.
We have his huge, massive curb stomp as a clip. There's a point where, later on in the match, where he pulls. Yeah,
there it is.
He pulls Chris Exodus up, and this is just absolutely brutal. We've seen Star Rider use a curb stomp for a long time as an offensive maneuver. There's something so much more malicious about this curb stomp, and to see it kind of unveiled on Chris Exodus, he made it look very, very terrifying.
And taking a bow afterwards really, really made the creep factor go from about here all the way up to here.
So what did you think about kind of do you want to say that this is the second time we've seen Exodus on Rise? Hope to see more of him.
Sure.
He is not unlike a guy like Anthony Katina was a few months ago, or Anthony Totelli was a few months ago,
right.
Where if you keep seeing more of him, he keeps putting on these great performances, he gets some more established stars, he's going to start gaining some of that momentum that we see Katina have now, and Totelli is gaining week in week.
Indeed.
Post-match here, with the comforting, with...
that's even next level creepy, like crawling over to him, kind of like slithering over to him, and then rubbing his hair and kind of making sure that he's okay, and then hitting him with an even more brutal curb stomp than the original.
This, to me, this looks like a recruitment.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow. I hadn't thought about that, but I don't hate that idea. I would love for this to be like some sort of be cool in terms of wrestling, it would not be like Legion of Doom, but
right.
In terms of 80s children television, it would be very much Legion of Doom.
No, for sure. And, this is we're in an interesting place kind of with the Revolution in general, right? Because it seems like Kadim's even kind of like his own separate thing now.
So is J-Rod, really?
J-Rod's kind of her own separate thing now.
Yeah.
It seems like Star Rider is kind of his own separate thing now. We still
he doesn't even do the Revolution music anymore.
That's true.
I hadn't noticed that, but that is a very good point.
I think that this could be the beginning of a little pin for Star Rider. It's a little more comic booky, right? A little bit more in line with this presentation of Star Rider. To me, that last post-match bit just really seemed like a recruitment. Like, I know I got you this time, but if you want, there's no better time to take advantage of someone than when they're down and out.
I suppose that's true.
Seems like rather than split the Revolution up, they're just proliferating factions.
Well, kind of, yeah. I mean, you have Leo Fox, AJZ, Doug Basham, Crixus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have...
Which is still a solid group in itself.
and then you have Super Z and Evil Z, or Star Rider and Evil Z, sorry, and maybe one more. And yeah, it kind of seems like we just have different things going on inside of the Revolution. Star Rider, like as you pointed out, doesn't even use Revolution's music anymore, though. J-Rod and Kadeem still do, though. And also Kadeem with Shannon the Dude. I guess, is that the split?
Yeah.
Right.
Kadeem seems to have custody of the Dude.
Well,
I'm sorry.
The Dude was out there later on in the evening in the Eric Surge match.
That's true.
Oh, he sure was. You're right.
Star Rider takes the victory here. Yeah. One curb stop wasn't enough. Had to hit him with another one. Sad stuff. Sad state of affairs over at the OVW for Jake Exodus. Or for, what's his name? Sorry.
Chris Exodus.
Jake Painter's later on in the evening. Bout number 2 of the evening. Lovely Miss Larkin versus Freya the Slaya. Rough week. 2 weeks in a row for Freya's fingers. Did you notice kind of Larkin picking up on where Leela Feist left off last week?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I was more involved with the saga over the invisible knife.
I thought you might have been concerned with the invisible knife.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of love the week to week of that, and the implication that Larkin's sitting backstage and realizing, maybe this is still could be a weak point for Freya the Slaya. Is this new gear from Larkin? I think so.
It could be, yeah. But that's a very calculating move on her part. If she saw what Leela did last week, allowing her to not have that time to heal those digits means that she's not going to be as powerful, and she's not going to be able to mount as big an offense as she ordinarily would if she were at 100%.
The stealing of the knife here kind of is what sends Larkin into a frenzy, right? A complete rage, as if she wasn't already there before with like the cutout of Freya the Slaya, as she does with all of her opponents. That we're seeing kind of more and more of the invisible knife kind of being brought into like reality.
Here's Freya about to throw it.
Between Freya being able to see it, Linda Kay being able to see it, and lovely Miss Larkin being obsessed by it, I think it's real. I'm starting to think that the invisible knife is real.
Well, if that's the case, then Freya better watch it if she decides to throw it into the crowd again, because she could have had a lawsuit on her hands.
That's true.
Somebody could have gotten hurt. She could have put an eye out.
Very funny with AJ McKay calling it the imaginary knife, and Linda always correcting him as well. It was very, very good stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
Honestly, Charlene McKenzie in this match just about made me laugh 3 or 4 times watching it, because she's so big expressions. I just loved it. Really selling it.
Can we see the next clip here?
Sure. Let's move right along. I think we
got a tussle.
There we go. Yeah, that's
Freya's got Larkin at first by the necktie, now by the.
No, that's her. She's being bit.
Yes, she's biting her. Yeah.
Wow.
See, going straight for those fingers again.
Yeah, Freya's fingers are in her mouth this whole clip.
That's just bizarre, but you know what? It works. It's very effective.
Yeah, this is the one where if you watch Charlene, she is just beside herself.
Okay, I'll pay. Yeah.
Can't redo it. She looks like
she is not having it.
Looks like a traffic director.
Yeah.
A really angry one. None of the traffic is paying attention to her.
Yeah, they obviously aren't.
Yeah, so that's how the match ends. There is Charlene's forced to throw the match out because of an illegal maneuver. Larkin going crazy after the knife gets misplaced, going back to those fingers. Do you think that we might see a third week where someone's working Freya's fingers?
If they were smart, yeah.
Yeah, I think whoever the next opponent is has to do a little bit of homework on Freya and say she might be in kind of a vulnerable spot with her biggest weapon there.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Was it the same hand? Or was it a different hand? Because
it was the same hand.
Leela put her hand in the turnbuckle, it was her right hand.
Yeah, I think it was the same hand.
Was it? Can we go back and look again?
Sure, we can go back.
Yeah, right hand.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's good heads up ball on lovely Miss Larkin's part.
Yeah, Larkin plays up a lot of this to, distraction, it almost seems like, because the woman seems like she has a plan.
Yeah, that's probably the therapist part, not the patient part.
Ah, yeah, good point.
Yeah, good point. Freya takes home the victory due to disqualification. Moving on, Jake Painter, Jay De Niro. Loving Jay De Niro, right? We're all loving Jay De Niro. Unfortunately, Jay De Niro is on such a upward trajectory right now, with so much momentum. If you're a fan, it's kind of probably not your night.
Yeah, whoever he wrestles, it's probably not going to go well for them.
But Jake Painter is a great foil and great for something like this. Great to make Jay De Niro look great. Very good at making people look good. And Jay De Niro got the size advantage on Jake Painter, so he looks even more imposing.
Hell, he's got the size advantage on most people.
On most everyone.
Yeah.
The tie straighten before he comes and delivers the finish is pretty great.
That's pretty typical De Niro.
Yeah, the tie straighten into this kind of spinning elbow drop.
The corkscrew elbow.
Mm-hmm. Corkscrew elbow drop. Yeah, love that. And then because it's a Jay De Niro match that was basically kind of straightforward, he took home the victory, by the way, of course. Tony Evans has to show up. Tony Evans starts kind of getting in Jay De Niro's face. And, the same old stuff. It's your kids, and you got 84 kids, and all this other whatnot.
Just the old tired
Tony Evans stuff.
Yeah.
And Jay De Niro doesn't take too kindly to it, pushes Tony Evans right across the ring.
Rightly so. He had it coming.
But don't count Tony Evans out, because he has a loaded glove of his own, and he strikes Jay De Niro with it.
So where do you suppose they get these? Loaded Gloves or Us? Loaded Glove Depot?
Something like that. Amazon 12-pack.
I see.
Next Day Prime. Tony Evans takes out Jay De Niro with either his own loaded glove or a recently acquired loaded glove. It's not really mine to tell. And
get him in the drive-thru at Wendy's.
And we see Cash Daniel come out to make the save on Jay De Niro,
which I didn't see coming, but when it happened, it's like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Tony Evans and Cash Daniel obviously have a match planned for Appalachian Armageddon out in Pikeville. Sorry, I'm going to have to miss that one. When we sat down with Cash, Jay was someone that he spoke very highly of, so obviously there's that backstage admiration. And who better to come out to make the save than Cash Daniel here in this situation. Really, really, really trying to use TV to pump people into the main event or into the live events, just like they did in the 70s and 80s, baby. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it. I really wish I wasn't going out of town in order to miss Evans and Daniel. I think that's going to be a lot of fun out in Pikeville.
Yeah.
Probably not the last time they'll cross ways in the ring.
No, but it's the first time.
It is, in fact, the first time.
So,
although, let's think about Cash Daniel partnering up with one Jay De Niro.
But who would be Evans's partner?
He doesn't need one. I mean, yeah, Jay De Niro is gonna. Yeah, they're gonna have their own little fight, but I think as a long-term pairing, Cash Daniel and Jay De Niro would be imposing.
I would not be surprised at all if during Appalachian Armageddon and the match specifically between Cash Daniel and Tony Evans, we saw Jay De Niro in Daniel's corner.
We certainly could, but that's a busy night. I mean, who's to say that that Jay De Niro won't be fighting for money in Louisville that evening?
Well, that's entirely true. It could be.
He's all about that paycheck. That's why he dumped Evans to begin with.
Yeah, because he wasn't getting paid.
We see up next is a little backstage vignette where the Trifecta kind of tried to talk Luscious Lawrence down. Luscious Lawrence doesn't have it.
I did not notice that before. Did you catch that?
Where he tells him to read between the lines?
They tell him to read between the lines.
Oh, right.
And then he goes...
Oh, he gave him a...
He returns...
He gave him a shocker?
Yeah, he returns their their gesture with one of his own that is more suited to his specific personality, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. I won't go into the definition of the shocker on this program, but
I haven't had to point at the side in a very long time.
We all spent time in schoolyards, so I'm sure that we remember the old adage.
Yeah. Something about one in the Floyd.
I don't think anybody ever has employed that in real life. Like, can I just go so far as to say, can I be so bold as to say that I don't think that that's a very effective maneuver? I don't think anyone's ever done it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. So what about this next match?
Let's see. Main event bout 4. We've got a non-title match. It is a handicap match. We have Crixus and OVW National Heavyweight Champion Doug Basham, accompanied by Shannon the Dude, correct?
Correct.
Versus Da Bomb Eric Surge.
Fun little match this was.
Yeah, it was.
I think that it was kind of what you would have expected, right, for a majority of the match. We get the hot shot, right. It's Crixus versus Crixus and Doug on Eric Surge before the bell even rings. They're just beating him up. Shannon the Dude's pulling Eric Surge's leg, tripping him up, distracting him, Where it's really 3-on-1 here.
It was really smart of Basham to wear that black button-down raincoat because he knew Crixus was going to spit that water and he didn't want to get wet.
That's a good look.
Yeah, it is.
Good look for him.
It's sharp.
Looks like Carrie-Ann Moss in The Matrix.
Yeah, kind of.
That's a good look. Trinity's good. She's the best dressed one out of all of them.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Brian Hines. Yeah, I think that this kind of goes as you would have expected it to. I think that at one point, AJ McKay has a really good call where he says, "This isn't. This is 2 versus 1. This isn't a handicap match. Like this isn't a tag team match or whatever. This
is almost 3 versus. Well, and then they get into that. It's like 2 1/3 on 1.
I did not see. First off, loved Eric Surge coming out prior to the match to address them with the microphone. Like Eric Surge getting microphone time.
Rightly so, because Doug's out there doing Doug things, saying Doug things like he always does, really full of himself because he's a leader of the Revolution and the heavyweight champion and all that, and rightly so. But it's good to see Eric Surge come out there and tell him to shut the hell up.
And what do we have in front of us? Do we have we have Eric Surge kind of busting them up, trying to.
Well, if you'll notice, Crixus is about to bust Doug up.
That's what I'm. Yeah, we have them in the middle.
Boom.
Doug's trying to go low. Crixus goes high. Stole that one from commentary too. Commentary did a great job this week,
as always.
And Doug gets hit with the Highland Heat Seeker.
Yep, sure does.
I actually smiled because
Jackman's wrestling heart grew 2 sizes that night.
I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming, and it was perfectly timed and executed. All three men.
Yeah, Surge jumps right out of the way, and it's too late because Crixus is already in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Doug can't stop because he's already running full speed, and it was just a beautiful dodge, which resulted in the 2 partners injuring each other.
Between the moment itself and how well it was executed, I actually let a little smile crawl across my face.
That doesn't happen a whole lot, folks.
Not really. I really, 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 really enjoyed this as a piece for Eric Surge. I think Eric Surge has all the momentum in the world right now. After he takes home the victory, he grabs a sign out of the crowd that says Eric Surge, next OVW champ. That was a great moment. That was a great shot. His attitude as he's walking away, the smile across his face, his swagger after he's beat these 2 men, a fantastic ending to Hour 1. Fantastic ending to Hour 1.
I didn't honestly, when they announced this, I didn't figure that Eric Surge had a chance.
Me neither.
But Eric Surge, being smarter than the average bear, was able to use the Revolution team members against each other, and that to his advantage, and gets the win over Doug Basham.
And a huge.
Watch this headbutt. Down.
Crixus is man with a headbutt of his own.
That's true.
Yeah, that may come up again.
You don't want to headbutt a Scotsman.
And then just up and over.
Worked
and
out
down.
for Mr. Surge.
On Doug, that's 3. Big time pin for Eric Surge on Doug Basham. Doug Basham during this run has been very generous. Not that he's taken pins all the time, but the pins that he has taken have been huge, big moments, and they've really done a lot to get people to that next level. Dustin Jackson, Eric Surge now.
When you said generous, I thought you meant you were referring to Timu and all the money he's given them for the leather outfits and whatnot.
No. Those are custom made. Come on now.
We'll see.
Come on, man. The pins that he's given out during this kind of Leader of the Revolution run, the National Heavyweight Championship run, has been very generous, and I've liked to see them, and they've done a lot. Like I said, for Dustin Jackson, did a lot for him, that program he had with Doug Basham, and Eric Surge isn't out of the woods yet with Doug Basham and Crixus by extension, but it's done a lot for him as well. It's done a lot for him. Great year for Eric Surge so far. I think within the next few months, we're going to have a whole new bunch of champions, and a lot of them are getting the seeds sown for that, like right here during this episode. Eric Surge being one of them.
You know, you often talk about how OVW is very good at making the drama not about the championships. Mm-hmm. How much were championships talked about in any place, in any moment in this episode? Because I didn't hear it much. It was mostly just about the action.
Other than, when they're introducing... the big one, I guess, would be the contract signing. But even then, it's far away from the championship, it seemed. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point. It's maybe one that I had escaped from. But no, it's very, very salient. Very salient here. A lot of championships being shown, not a lot of talking about the championships. The action in the ring speaks for itself, right?
Yeah. It does.
Let's go on to our next match here. Let's go on to our next match.
So our next match, we've got the Mammoth Donovan Cecil versus the veteran Jack Vaughn.
Interesting match here. Donovan Cecil is very much in control, like for a large majority of this match, to the point that Jack Vaughn even has to go out for a timeout.
Yeah, which is a veteran move, by the way.
Something that we said last week was kind of the prospect of Donovan Cecil joining the Trifecta. Guess now that's not going to happen because they got a name that involves the letter 3. And also, Donovan Cecil's just too fun as a babyface.
Yeah.
Him slapping Jack Vaughn, really taking Jack Vaughn to his own game.
The gets me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Really doing Jack Vaughn his own game. Huge slaps, huge chops in the corner, quieting the people down. That's a Jack Vaughn move.
Yeah.
I've seen him do it before.
I love that.
Donovan Cecil continues to kind of grow into his own. And then the story of this match is that Jack Vaughn kind of can't stand that no matter what he does, he can't best Donovan Cecil. Let's go ahead and see that failed lariat, please. One of the best.
Look at the showboating.
One of the best moments of the night. Yeah, he's actually just put Donovan on the ground for one of the first times throughout the entire match. And he goes for the Kaiju lariat, and Donovan Cecil
catches him, spins him around, slams.
Has pretty much the pitch perfect counter.
Yeah.
To it.
Seamless. Let's go back and watch that again. It's getting ready to come here. 1, 2, 3.
This time, again, watch your referee.
Oh, yeah, I saw her. She was just about in traffic and was like, whoops, my bad.
Yeah. Does she? Oh, yep, that wouldn't have been good. She would have gotten taken out.
We've seen her take some bumps before. Cash hit her with it wasn't a chop, was it? It wasn't a full-on chop.
Oh, I hope not.
I think he may have accidentally chopped Charlene once. Yeah.
I kind of think so, yeah.
But watch her hands in this moment. Oh!
Yeah.
I love it. So good.
The Jack Vaughn ends up taking the victory here. Can we go ahead and see the pinning sequence? Or do we have the pinning sequence?
Yes, this ends in the pinning sequence.
So we've got Donovan Cecil with Jack Vaughn up on the third rope. Donovan Cecil's taken the action up to the third rope for Jack Vaughn. Jack Vaughn slips under, slams Donovan Cecil to the ground. Donovan Cecil bent inside out, really kind of honestly borrowing a page out of Star Rider's book there on that cell. And then we see the Kaiju Lariat this time take Donovan Cecil down. He's a little dazed and confused after being slammed from the third rope. That's enough for Jack Vaughn to get the victory there. Usually for Jack Vaughn, that's enough.
Yeah.
This week it was not. Donovan Cecil gets up from the Kaiju Lariat pretty quick, and they do a great job of putting this over on commentary. Jack Vaughn's not happy about that and hits Donovan Cecil with another Kaiju Lariat to leave him there after the match. Is Jack Vaughn and Donovan Cecil a new rivalry? Is this a new program?
I mean, it'd be fun.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Jack Vaughn kind of being completely shook by the power of, and not only power, but prowess of Donovan Cecil is a really, really, really fun place for Jack Vaughn as a character and really fun for me to watch. And Donovan Cecil, Jack Vaughn's a former heavyweight champion. Donovan Cecil's trying to get there.
He's a future heavyweight champion.
Can really a big rivalry and a big win in a rivalry over Jack Vaughn could help Donovan Cecil massively. Right?
That would be a great rivalry to take on the OVW Summer Tour and bring that from town to town.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It would be justice for not getting the Jay De Niro Jack Vaughn feud that we really looked forward to last summer.
That's true. It has been about a year. Crazy to think.
The Waterfront show specifically.
Yeah, Waterfront show specifically. Maybe we can run that back. Jay De Niro's in a totally different place on the card than he was a year ago.
That's true, yes.
And just a handful of matches in a totally different place on the card.
Well, I mean, he's on the card without a W before his name, so that's always a good place to be.
That's true. He's a single act now. He's taking it on the road for himself. Yeah, I kind of hope that we get more out of this, Jack Vaughn and Donovan Cecil. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Jack Vaughn's kind of also a natural teacher, and Donovan's a natural student. And that's you really can't ask for more. Let's talk about bout 6 of the evening. It's between the OVW Tag Team Champion, one half of the OVW Tag Team Champions, Jake Lawless from the team Loud and Lawless, taking on Anthony Toatelli. I've earmarked Anthony Toatelli as one of my favorite guys, a guy to watch for a long time. He keeps picking up these serious wins on Thursday nights, this time against Jake Lawless. Jake Lawless is no slouch.
You got to respect the effort put in by the Flo and Samoan Anthony Toatelli.
Absolutely. This is probably my favorite match of the night, between this and the Jack Vaughn Donovan Cecil match. But I really like Anthony Toatelli. I've liked him since he first started coming around. And these guys are both, kind of come from similar places with a similar amount of experience. They have a lot of back and forth, but ultimately Toatelli is the person that comes out victorious. He has that huge, super dope, sideways, one knee code breaker that I'm a huge, huge fan of.
Yeah, there it is. Pow, right in the kisser.
But yeah, I mean, these guys, other than that, very, very, equally, the story of the match was kind of Toatelli needs to pull out this quick as a hiccup maneuver to take home the victory. Otherwise, these guys would probably be wrestling until TV time allotted.
Or today still.
Maybe.
I mean, it's very effective. The sneaking the one knee code breaker, is there an actual name for this?
Not that I know of yet, but he should patent that because that thing is cool as hell.
I think commentary just called it a code breaker.
Okay, I wonder what Brad would have to say about this. Brad wasn't on commentary this week.
No, he was not.
But, I mean, it's almost like an RKO. You can kind of hit it out of anywhere, and it's very effective. It put Jake Lawless away, and we've seen him use it last week as well, and I'm sure we'll see it several times in the future. And I mean, what a versatile move.
Yeah, you can you can hit it anywhere on anybody.
And effective.
That's all you can ask for in a finisher.
Yep.
I mean, the other finisher we sit and talk about all the time on here is stand and go. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Hit it on any time from out of anything on anybody. It's fantastic. Love it. I do want to reference back to Eric Surge and Anthony Toatelli, and these are your guys that by the end of the year are going to be your new champions. These are going to be your handful of champions. It's going to be guys like Anthony Toatelli. It's going to be guys like Eric Surge. And then, I mean, I think that we're all heading toward, it's not going to be the first time he challenges for it, or I guess it was not the first time he challenged for it. Probably not even going to be the second time he challenges for it. But we're also heading toward Cal Hero as the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see a lot of new blood in all of these different levels of championships at OVW over the next few months, because they've just done a great job of giving these new faces a lot of momentum and a lot of meat on the bone, a lot of meaningful moments, and they've all had some great matches along the way.
There's been a lot of new faces, or a lot of recently added faces, getting a lot of screen time, and I love it. It keeps the weekly program fun and interesting, and we get to see more about these new folks, and I'm glad we do.
Couldn't agree more. Agree more. So let's get into the I don't want to say the most interesting thing that happened tonight, and I don't want to say the most chaotic thing that happened tonight, because it was a night full of chaos, but this is very chaotic and very interesting nonetheless. The contract signing for the tables match at Appalachian Armageddon between Sophia Rose and J-Rod.
The part that really made me just kind of stop and watch with my jaw open is the smack these two ladies were talking to each other. I mean, I am not going to reference any of these things specifically because I will be sent to HR.
Well, I don't mind saying that I lost $10,000 on a bet because I said that we were going to go. I had it at 9.5 seconds that we were going to go before J-Rod mentioned Sophia was deaf, and I lost. I lost the money. She hit it in like 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Like bull riding.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to mention Sophia Rose's reply.
Oh, so which one? Like your personality is like your chest? Oh, I'll say all of it because it was great stuff. Because it was all really good stuff. Okay, I'll be honest. The deaf thing, I could have
That's happened before.
If Sophia's cool with it, cool, great, fantastic. I would hate for something like that. That and the final statement that J-Rod made, you should have stayed dead. I would hate for Sophia Rose or anyone to get blindsided with a comment like that. But if Sophia Rose knew it, signed off on it, walked into it, agreed upon it, I think that it's good television, right? There's a huge difference. And not to mention, the talk of the wrestling world over the last couple of weeks has been Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair. These two girls went way more personal than Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, burn, party of one.
And I can't help but think since that was in the air, Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair getting super personal on a big stage, that these two girls kind of said, F it, let's go for it. You know, like, let's go for it.
Let's go all the way.
And they certainly did. We had You're Deaf, Your Mom's Trashy. We had all kinds of just smack talk, but I'm gonna be honest. Sophia kind of won with the her comment. Like, that was one of those comments where it's not about quantity, or it's not about quantity. It's about quality, and she went straight for the heart on that one, and it was pretty funny. I'm gonna be honest. It was good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not saying I didn't laugh out loud at that, but I was just kind of like, wow.
Yeah, I in all honesty knew that it was probably gonna go there, and was still schoolyard giddy and blown away that it did. I actually said Jesus effing Christ when she said you should have stayed dead.
Yeah, that was...
I said it out loud. I was by myself. I wasn't talking to anybody. There was no one to talk to. I was like, I said Jesus effing Christ, because I was just like, oh my goodness gracious, they actually did that.
They went all the way there.
I loved it. Again, refs working overtime. J-Mo's out there. Jebediah Blackhawk's out there. Everyone's making sure that these two can't get at each other. We're trying to get this match in the ring at Appalachian Armageddon. As much as I want to see Cash Daniel first match, I'd go for Cash Daniel. I'd be staying for the ladies' tables match. This thing is red hot. And I hope we get clips of it. I hope we get maybe a YouTube posting of it. I don't know anything, but this angle is just kind of too red hot right now for me not want to see the blow off of it. And out there in Pikeville, they're gonna have a lot of fun. They got a good night of wrestling to look forward to. got a good night of wrestling to look forward to in Pikeville, man.
As does Louisville.
Absolutely, but it seems like all of the angles are leading to Pikeville, right?
Yeah.
They
got a big arena to fill there.
That's all I mean. It seems like all the angles are trying to lead to Pikeville, but this was good stuff. After reschedule a contract signing, it had to be this brutal.
It was like maximum security. It was like they both come out fully escorted. You gotta love it. Big fight feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. To end
trying to get to each other, to beat each other's brains in. There's a team of people on both sides holding both of these ladies back until they can kind of calm it down, and then almost get back to fighting each other, and
then they get the contract signed, and then they just end up like throwing it at each other instead. Like this was good television, man. This was a great little segment. There's a lot of heat right now.
This is the most Jerry Springer segment I've seen on OVW, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, though, you know what would have been the cherry on top? Ladies.
Yeah, I miss Al. I really miss Al.
I'm going to need you guys to calm down.
And he just...
But they can't ever calm down. Like, that's the other stipulation is Al really needs to try, but he should not succeed.
Yeah, no, that was really all that this segment needed to really boost it into the stratosphere. Is one of the all-time great segments that since we've been covering it is just Al coming out and saying the word "ladies" and looking dejected. That was pretty much all it was missing. All right, let's talk about the final final match of the evening. Brian Hines. God, we've had a lot. This episode moved fast on television.
Very fast.
This episode moved fast on television.
Yeah, life moves at you fast.
It can. It certainly can
Yeah,
if you're not paying any attention.
This match, the 6-man tag match that was set up at the beginning of the evening. We've got Anthony Katina, Brandon Beretta, Ashton Adonis, the Trifecta.
The newly minted Trifecta
versus Luscious Lawrence, Dustin Jackson, and Cal Hero on the other side of the ring.
I could have watched this 6-man go all day. I think of these three. You talk about summer tour shows.
Yeah, I really wanted to see this match all the way through to the finish, a proper finish, not the hullabaloo that it ended up being. Wow, yeah, Katina kind of ate turnbuckle there. Nice
Can't
work,
be
TJ.
that slow. Look
Nope.
at him. Look
Sure
at him
can't.
taking time.
Well, that's what happens when you go grandstanding and stuff.
Yeah, you're posturing, and Dustin Jackson's not one to put up with that. You've got one of the most egotistical guys from a storyline perspective or character perspective versus one of the most grounded guys from a storyline perspective. He's not going to not capitalize on showboating, right?
Yeah, I figured that the new faction, the new look also meant new ring gear. That was not the case.
We haven't got there yet.
No, haven't gotten there yet. But in this match, Brandon Beretta and Ashton Adonis look like they shopped at Men's Warehouse, and Anthony Katina looks like he shopped at Spencer's. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what next week brings.
In the 18+ section.
The $3 clearance shirt section. Is that still a thing?
Probably.
I don't know.
It's like,
I haven't been to Spencer's in years.
It's like a shirt that has like an alien on it. It says like "Take me to your dealer."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I kind of want to take you guys to Hot Topic and Spencer's now.
Hey, man.
I don't know that there's really anything there for me. I mean, I'm not opposed to going to the mall, but I'd probably stick around the food court.
I don't know. I don't know if I can go to Hot Topic anymore.
Would they kick you out?
No, but I don't know if I can set foot in one without some really bad old habits from my teenage years coming out. And I'm not talking about the guy liner.
Hey-oh.
Talking about robbing that place blind. They really don't. They really need a resource officer in Hot Topic, guys. It's so easy to shoplift out there. Just a heads up for anybody who might be interested. Anyway, I would have liked to see the end of this match as well. That's not what we get, though, because Mount Kadim's got his sights set on Cal Hero. Ironically enough, though, Kadim comes out and he says, I don't fight, unless it's for money. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. It really seems that Cal's in his head, though.
That's true. He came out during their confrontation at the beginning of the show. He comes out in the middle of this. My favorite Mount Kadeem line of the week is, "I've got a closet full of left shoes because I keep putting my foot in your ass," or something like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good Kadeemism.
Not quite as good as I'm handing out 1099s.
Yeah, because I got work.
Yeah, but that was pretty good, so I appreciated that.
No, man, he's got jokes. I've been saying it, man. He just needs to keep a bunch of them in his back pocket once a week, bust out like 2 or 3 of them,
yeah,
and then just keep this train rolling. I do think, though, back before we got distracted by
Hot Topic,
me admitting my crimes, I do want to see more of these 6 men. I do think that this has a lot of chemistry. I do think it's kind of a shame that it was cut short by Kadeem, but I understand completely why they did it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, you've got 2 giant events coming up this week and a whole calendar full of tour dates this summer. Starting it off hot and going to keep it hot all summer.
In a 2 years almost of covering this show.
That's nuts.
Right? In 2 years almost of doing this, we've seen Cal Hero in a lot of compromising positions. This was his best work yet. Being ragdolled by Mount Kadeem. Do we have all of that?
So I've got, this last clip is basically a minute that I cut, and it's the first time I've ever put multiple, like it's edited together. So I give you kind of a taste of what the next few minutes of this match is like. So
let's see it.
See, starts with Kadeem getting in the ring here.
Ring ready, got his boots on, got his trunks on, steps over the top rope. Dallas trying to get a hold, trying to get any semblance of order.
DJ trying to step in between he and Cal Hero.
Always. You can depend on DJ.
Get slammed to the mat from at least 7 feet up.
Katina, Adonis, and Beretta
They're like,
cut bait and get out of town because they know better. Luscious Lawrence comes in for after Dustin Jackson's been annihilated. And he gets a choke slam of his own, handful of tights all the way up in the air. Cal Hero manages to get a shot off on Mount Kadeem,
which is completely ineffective.
And instead of going for the choke slam, Mount Kadeem just holds on to him like a mad dog. Like
that's very much an Andre the Giant move.
Oh yeah.
If he didn't like you, you knew it. There was no mincing words about it. He would grab you by the neck and shake you like a rag doll, and then Kadeem hits poor Dallas with a slam that has Dallas pretty much up on the 2nd floor.
Yeah.
Like a good 10 feet above the ground, and then just blam.
He chokes Cal Hero out, annihilates the refs, annihilates Cal Hero. I'm surprised he didn't just throw Cal Hero over his shoulders like a bag of potatoes and throw him in a boiling pot of water.
Yeah.
Right? He annihilated the baby faces here. He's shook by Cal Hero.
The baby faces? The refs?
Are refs baby faces?
They're neutral.
Technically?
Generally, you want your refs, I think, to not have a character.
No, they're Swiss.
No. There's times where refs should have characters. There's times. There's definitely times. Yeah. Now, when are we going to see Mount Kadeem and Cal Hero? Are we seeing? Is that in Pikeville as well?
No. Yes, they're doing Chain Carnage in Pikeville.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh wow, Cal Hero and Mount Kadeem in a Chain Carnage match. Yeah, guys, can somebody
if you're going to Appalachian Armageddon, please take some video and post it and tag us or send it to us or whatever. And that goes for anybody going for the Waterfront show this weekend.
Please, yes.
Please.
We will be at the Waterfront show. Hopefully all of us will be at the Waterfront show next week.
Yeah, we mentioned this in the fan zone this week that we're going to record here in a little bit, but I said past tense because that's how it works.
Yeah, technically that's how it works.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess on the way out here, I'll just say this. I will not be here next week. I appreciate everyone tuning in all the same. I think that Victor will be on microphone, right?
I don't know that it's been officially decided, but that seems reasonable.
Unofficially speaking, we will have a guest co-host.
So whoever it is, whether it's Victor or Tiny Brian, tune in next week. I will only be gone a week. For anybody,
but you will be here in spirit.
I will be here in spirit. I might even try to call in on the Wednesday night show. We'll see. But a second thing is, I'll be in New Orleans. If anybody knows of any wrestling going on down there, I know that we get some wrestlers that listen and they travel a lot. If you guys know of any good promotions I should check out while I'm down there, send us an Instagram message. I have the account, and I'd love to go see some independent wrestling out on my travels. I'm traveling with some friends. They've never been to a wrestling event. Would love to show them what the whole thing is about. So if fans or wrestlers or anyone, if you guys have suggestions for wrestling in the New Orleans area, please let me know. That would be fantastic. And I guess we'll sign out. We've got Fan Zone in 30 minutes. For all of us here at the OVW podcast, my name is Jack Minogues.
I'm Brian Hines.
For Tiny Brian, for Malachi P.S. Woodard, for Victor Anderson, for everyone at the Blimp, this has been the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Love you guys.